Dr. Vic, I would like to, build on that because today you are teaching Gen Zs
Oh,
in the
yes.
classroom.
Yeah.
How are Gen Zs different from other generations, and how can we better understand them and support them? And then I'll ask the expert's opinion, Dr. Sumner, your perspective on how we can support Gen Zs. Are they, how are they different? What do they want from universities, from their learning journey? So, Dr. Vic, how's your experience teaching Gen Zs?
Gosh, I don't like this categorization of generations because I personally believe that there can't always be overlap across space and time. So Gen Zs in cosmopolitan cities are not necessarily the same as Gen Zs in places like the global south, places that are not very developed. They will have the same age bracket across the globe, but they're not necessarily going to have the same attributes. So the broad categorization of Gen Z is that they are tech savvy. They understand technology. They were born into internet era, so they understand how to use computers, laptops, and digital devices, you name it. Quite apart from that, some sources say that they are open to new cultures, so their cultural tolerance is much higher than older generations like us. They are equally also plagued with some issues. For example, they have much shorter attention span in the classroom. They don't like traditional methods of teaching, i.e. standing in front and telling them what Maslow has said in 1964. So with those attributes and categorizations, I wouldn't say it's a challenge to teach them, but they are certainly different group of students that we have these days. And the way I approach the Gen Zs, they form the largest cohort of what I do at the moment, is to ensure that I understand them. And you do that by trying to talk to them, both inside the class and outside of the class, beyond the curricula. If you do that, you can understand their circumstances much better than if you just take things for granted. So I'll stop one of my students during their break time, and then I'll ask personal questions like, how is your family doing? And sometimes they are quite surprised that such questions are asked because they don't expect you to care so much about their family. But once you do that, they open up, and with the information that you gather from that small conversation, you can leverage on that to teach them in a much different way. I do a lot of funny jokes in my class as well to deal with the attention span. I think this is called in educational psychology refocusing strategy. So if you're losing them, which is often the case, you've got to find a way to reconnect. So I'll pause for a few, I would say up to a minute, tell a joke, bring something from the media that is a little bit controversial, but also not inappropriate, and then get them to think about it. I often can also just pick randomly on an individual to get them to talk about something of relevance. And so that approach seems to work for me. I wouldn't recommend that for everyone because it may not work for all. But in my class, it's certainly over the past number of years, 2 decades, it's been quite effective.